Right now, I have to stop saying.
Ooh. Coming up on the DLLS Stars Podcast on this Monday, May 19th, we put a bow on the Stars Jets second round series. We preview, at least to start with, the Stars and Oilers. And of course, we have to revisit our picks from the second round. Did we get it?
Crap.
Did we not? Oh, Sam. Oh, Sam. Let's start the show right now.
Get ready, boys.
This is the DLLS Stars Podcast. Our Stanley Cup playoff coverage is brought to you by Bud Light. Bud Light, easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Enjoy responsibly. And by Happiest Hour, your home base and the best place to catch the NHL playoffs and cheer on the Dallas Stars just steps away from the AAC. The ultimate spot with 50-plus beers and 40-plus TVs for all the big moments every single game day. Happiest Hour, your favorite spot for the Stanley Cup playoffs. Big welcome, everybody, here on this Monday. It is May 19th. This is the DLLS Stars Podcast. And as I said after the first round, hockey is still being played in Dallas as the Stars are getting ready to go out to the Western Conference Final. Alongside Craig Ludwig, Sam Nestler, Sean Shapiro remotely, and our producer, John Andersen. I'm Owen Newkirk. Thanks for joining us today. We have a lot to get to. Let's start with putting a bow on the second round. Before the show, Lud said he had nothing left to say about Stars and Jets. Does that still hold true?
Goaltending and special teams. I said, Jake Ottinger, halfway through this next round, somebody ought to start putting his name on the Conn Smythe Trophy. And I don't care what happens in the finals. I just think I think Otter was that good. When you go back and look at some numbers and stats and things, it only points at one guy for me. And I'm not saying other guys weren't good at times, but Jake has been a consistent the whole way through.
It wasn't that long ago in the second round series that Mikko Rantanen was number one on my list for the Stars as far as Conn Smythe candidates. When do you
Bigger
think
sample size, right?
When do you think Jake passed him?
Well, I don't know. I think Mikko overshadowed him in the first round because of what he was doing. I mean, You're scoring all those goals, but again, if it wasn't for Jake, Mikko would have had to score another 3 or 4 goals each night because Otter was keeping the puck out of the net.
And correct me if I'm wrong, Luds, but other than that crazy save, basically in the game 6, he didn't do it. It wasn't super flashy, right? If you're looking, you're not like, oh my God, this guy is holding them in this series. But if you look at the numbers and the high quality scoring chances they had in the series, he just got it done.
He got it done. It was like, and Sean's better obviously for this question, but he just seemed to know where the shot was going. Like, I don't know, Sean, how you even put that into goalie terms, but I go back and I look at him like, well, he was already standing right there. He's waiting for it. Like, it's like he's reading their minds, and I guess that's just positioning, right? And I'm sure part of it is confidence, but I think a little bit of that has to do with confidence in the guys around you and in front of you, knowing that I can come out and challenge a little bit, and I don't have to worry about a pass coming across and things like that.
Yeah, well, it's, to put it in goalie terms, it's play reading and puck tracking, and that's what he's. It's funny that we saw Jake have that type of performance in this round, and it's always been a strength of his, but Connor Hellebuyck is well known in the hockey world as the best play reader and puck tracker, plus play reader amongst NHL goalies, and Jake play read Connor Hellebuyck in this series, and something where that was the one area where if you were to like break down their skill sets, Connor Hellebuyck is better than Jake Ottinger. It was play reading, and Jake's play reading has always been good. It's gotten better over the past couple of years, and it's reaching an even higher level right now. And it's for me, like that save, that scramble save there. And I know Jake says he just threw something out. He got a little bit of luck, and it does take some luck in goaltending. But for me, that save, I look at where his eyes are on that save. He makes that save, and yes, he's out and he's doing whatever he can to get there, but he never loses his puck tracking on that play. Even in his most scrambliest moments, he never loses his puck tracking. Like, the difference between that and, say, the Bobrovsky save last year, where Bobrovsky is not looking at all and basically just flailing, that's a complete – there's luck involved in both. I'm not saying that you need some luck, but Jake is able to, as moments get chaotic, as his body gets chaotic, he's able to keep everything square. He's able to keep locked in on the play, and it's been really impressive. And it's just gotten better. His play reading has gotten so much better over the past couple of years. It was already elite. It's become even more elite, whatever the word above for that is. And it's, if you're a team and you're prepping for him now, it starts to become much harder to draw a spot of, hey, you need to shoot here. Here's a hole here. That, like, with what Jake's doing, he's playing like the best goalie in the world. That's what he wants to be in the conversation, and you know what? He's in that conversation now.
He's going to have to be. He's going to have to continue to have it dialed up too. And again, I'm not the analytical stats guy and all the things like that, but there is something called off flurries, chances off flurries, and this Edmonton team, they buzz and they're around. They're around, and a lot of that's going to have to do with the guys around them, not just Jake. But and the other thing is, when you have this and you've gone 2 rounds, and this is a goal for a goalie answer, I guess. When you go 2 rounds like he has, can your confidence get rattled no matter what happens? I just think that it's built up. I don't know if you can get rattled after this. You've got something to draw back on, very recent, and that you're just that good. So I don't think there's anything that, if anything happens in the Edmonton series, I don't think he's going to get rattled, and it's going to rattle him.
What do you think, Sean?
I think the one potential for that is because we talked about, for Jake, this is the one round he still has to get past, and I don't think it will rattle Jake at all. I think he's fine, Luds. I think his confidence is going to be there, and I don't think there's going to be any issues. But if there was going to be any lingering doubt in his mind, it's this is 3 years in a row that he's reached this round, and the past 2 he hasn't been able, and he and his team haven't been able to get the job done. And last year he got outplayed by Stuart Skinner in this round. So he won 2 rounds last year, but wasn't great in round 3 last year. So I don't think so. I don't think there's anything that can shake him right now, but there is at least the lingering thought and concept of, hey, this is kind of the, not last mountain Jake Oettinger needs to climb, but this is the question mark of what happened the past 2 years in round 3. He hit a bit of a wall physically, in his performance, and I believe health-wise as well. So he has to kind of prove to, I don't know who he has to prove it to, but there is, the past 2 years, Jake has dipped a little bit in the Western Conference Final, so he has to do that. And I don't think it will be a problem. I think he's way better than he was. He's way better coming to the Western Conference Final than he was the last 2 years. So I don't think it's an issue, but it is something that's there. If we're going to look at what could be, if you're the Oilers, what could be the thing where you're like, oh, maybe we get to him. I don't even think you can, but that's the one space.
Anything that you particularly, Sam, want to talk about from Stars Jets? To me, and we can get Sean's 2 cents from Game 6 because he wasn't on the post-game show, but the handshake line we saw from Mark Scheifele, obviously everybody was gutted to watch the scene of him with having lost his father, playing in the game, being in the penalty box when the Stars scored in overtime. Gutted for him as a human being. Stars fans obviously thrilled that the Dallas won the series and won the game, but you can kind of be both. You can feel that that's a emotional situation and also be excited for the Stars. But to me, between the hugs from his teammates and then the time that every single Dallas Star gave to him really showed the humanity of it. And, I'll let both you and Luds and also Sean, if they want to weigh in on this. I love the fact that you can be enemies and, as Jamie Benn did, punch Scheifele in the face after a whistle in Game 5 and then give a long embrace at the end of Game 6. As soon as that series comes to an end and you go to handshakes, I'm sure there's still frustrations for the losing side, but there's a level of sportsmanship that every time we see it, it's not lost on me.
Yeah, and that's the case every year, like you just said. This is the extreme of that with the Scheifele situation. I don't know if I've seen a moment quite like that covering sports or even as a fan. Just everything that was going on. I just wrote a little bit about it on our site today, but watching Harley jumping in the air over here on the right, watching some of the Stars come off the boards to celebrate with him, watching other Stars players skate towards Jake Oettinger on the left to celebrate with him, watching Jamie Benn just pure joy, screaming on the ice. Fans are throwing towels, and then you look down and you see Mark Scheifele's head hanging in the penalty box and his teammates having to kind of pull him out of the penalty box, hug him, like you said, one by one. I actually stayed up there. I didn't rush down to the elevator. I was like, this is just a moment to take in, seeing him go through the handshake line, not only Jamie Benn, but Mason Marchment, who obviously went through something somewhat similar a few years ago. he immediately made a beeline to him, long embrace, a lot of words. I think Mark Lazarus wrote a little bit about that conversation between the two of them. It was just so much to take in. And then you have the joy of it. And you have the one of my favorite things is to watch the coaching staff of the team that wins. I just think it's amazing to see them. They do so much work. You see Pete DeBoer just aging and dark circles under his eyes every day of the playoffs. It looks like he looks more and more tired and stressed and annoyed that we keep asking him questions. To see them jumping on each other and giving Steve Spott a little rub on the head for getting the power play goal. I just think it was one of those moments you just never forget, and a lot to take in. Very overly emotional in that moment in there.
Dark circles, says the raccoon.
That's what I'm talking about. I'm there too, eh?
Everything, the picture everybody mentions. I have it, but we can't put it up because, God forbid, it's a pirate or something like that. I don't know. But that tells the story of what goes on in the playoffs. And for 2 hours and 15 minutes or so every other night and the days in between, you hate the guys with the other jerseys. And that you still respect them in a way, but then when it's all said and done with, you're all brothers. And really, it's what is the alumni slogan? Sean would probably know it. It's something like hockey's greatest family or something like that, or biggest family. I don't know exactly how Heels put it. Glenn Healy put it up there, but it's Sean, you'll be able to figure it out, right? Something biggest family.
Yeah. Hockey's biggest family, hockey's largest family. Something like, what is it? Because the Alumni Association.
I could have Heels. I could have Heels call in and tell us, but it would take an hour and a half for him just to tell us what that phrase is. But it's just so true. I mean, it's you go to war and you respect what they do, and then at the end of the day, we understand it's about getting that shiny object at the end of it, and you do whatever you can just for like a player that loses obviously an important family member and goes on about his business as best as he can. And I was one of the guys too, sitting there going, as much as you want the Stars to win this game right now, this is your best opportunity.
I believe the slogan is hockey's greatest family.
I think that's what I said.
Yep. Well, I'm just
I'm is that the alumni? Is that the alumni?
It's the NHL Alumni Association.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, I can keep on going, and again, you can. There's a play. Well, let's put it this way. Look what the owner of the Dallas Stars did for Scheifele.
Well, can you tell everybody what that is?
Yeah. So Tom reaches out and he actually gives him his private plane.
Tom Gaglardi.
Tom Gaglardi, the owner, gives Scheifele a plane to fly him to his dad's funeral, to fly him back home.
In Ontario.
Yeah.
Instead of going back to Winnipeg.
So, I mean, that just, to me, all the things that we can say, that's kind of the cherry on top. And I was driving here today and I was thinking, next time I see Tom, I'm going to shake his hand and just say, thanks for being a hockey owner. That's what a true owner of a hockey team does right there. That's the epitome of what you do. I mean, war, you hate the other team, and then you do something.
May I ask you one more follow-up? We'll carry this over. What would you say, or what did you say, if you remember, to the opponents on a series that you lost in the Stanley Cup playoffs?
Good luck. Every single one of them.
Yeah.
I mean, you wish them luck.
Like, you're gutted in that moment because you want to win and you lost, and it's obviously frustrating and emotional, but you're able to say those kind of things right in the moment.
100%. And do you really mean it? No, but it's the right thing to do, and you don't mean it that you don't want them to win. You're just pissed that you don't have the chance to win. It's no ill will, but it's the right thing to do. But you're not really that heartfelt. There are some players that obviously that I had played with,
sure,
and hadn't won it before. If you win it and you have the same amount of cups, you really don't want to say the good luck, and so you can end up in. I got Blake here, Coleman in town, and Blake one day when he had the cup come back here for the second one, and I coach Blake, and he comes here, we're over at the house, and Blake, we're taking the picture. He goes, "Hey, can you and I take a picture up there?" So we're at the parents' house and stuff like that.
Couple of two-timers.
He smiles at me, and I'm like, "What are you smiling about?" He goes, "I got one more than you do now." I said, "No, you don't." He goes, "Yes." He goes, "How many do you have?" He goes, "Oh, shit." He goes, "I thought I had." But anyway, that kind of stuff.
So now he's trying for 3 just to one-up you.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And that's fine. I mean, right now, The one guy I don't want to see, but I'm okay. No, I'm not even okay with it because you know who I'm going to talk about is Jonesy. You know, I mean, the way Seth has played, the way you watch him play there, I mean, that guy deserves to win a Stanley Cup at someday, not this year, but someday. Seth,
we're going to talk about Game 7 later in the show today.
on.
Boy, he looked good for the Panthers. Up next, let's talk a little bit more about this. Let's get into the Oilers series conference final. We're going to preview it today and tomorrow here on the DLLS Stars Podcast.
All right, let's talk about Empire Today, where you can get the wonderful memo, unlike me, when it comes to the shirts for everyone's wearing today. So just like your favorite team needs a home ice advantage, your home needs a home flooring advantage, and Empire Today can help you get it. Empire Today has flooring experts, dedicated flooring professionals who focus on flooring every single day. We've all been to those big box stores. You wander endless aisles, and somehow you're hauling all these materials home, looking for an installer, and coordinating everything yourself. Those big box stores might have a flooring department, but the person helping with flooring may have been doing sinks yesterday and could be stocking light bulbs tomorrow. So, why is Empire Today your best bet for a new floor? Empire Today lives and breathes flooring. They will be with you every step of the way. It's a whole different ballgame. Their flooring experts bring the showroom right to your home. You pick the right flooring and the right colors for your space. You see how it looks in your furniture, in your house. Just like in that studio where they are, it works really well with the furniture they've got right there. With Empire Today, you get a clear, upfront, all-inclusive pricing, plus you can schedule installation as soon as the next day. Nobody likes to wait. So, schedule a free in-home estimate today because some things are just better at home. DLLS listeners can receive a $350 discount when using promo code DLLS. Yes, you heard right, a $350 discount code with DLLS. Restrictions apply. Visit EmpireToday/DLLS for full details.
Let's talk about Game Time. You know, the NFL schedule released last week. Tickets are now available. And I know a lot of people are already planning their summers, their falls to get ready for going to see some of those games. Game Time can be a life hack for unlocking seats and experiences for a great price, whether it's the NFL tickets. You'll find great seats as low as $100. And, of course, Game Time guarantee, you know, they're always 100% authentic NFL tickets. You get them on time at the best price. Plus, the fees are always included, so you know what you're paying for up front. And, of course, Stanley Cup playoff tickets. Do that as well. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time Picks. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code DLLS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply again. Create an account and redeem code DLLS for $20 off. Hey, Sam, what time is it?
Game time. The Mav show did it all together as a unit.
We'll work on that.
Nice.
Yeah, well,
nice.
Our choreography is not there yet.
That was pretty good.
Sean, before we talk about the Oilers, is there any Sean's 2 cents you want to throw out there about the series, the Game 6 with the Jets? Anything to put a bow on that?
Go back to 12-6 for Game 1. That's it.
Sam?
You guys did a really nice job.
Thank you, Sean. Is that actually going to happen in Game 1 against the Oilers?
I think it will. Pete said the same thing he said before Game 6, that it's all up in the air. They'll have to make decisions. But I think he used the same thing that we talked about before Game 6, which was specifically the overtime and the double overtimes and those things. If the game is to carry on, or like if you were to drop a defenseman like Morrissey went down in Game 6.
And now you're down to 5
Yeah, you're down to 5 for, 2 periods? So, or at least a period, and maybe who knows how long that game could have gone. So that I think is in the back of their minds, but I personally would do it. I would expect to see it, but I know they are really, really weary of getting in a position where they have to play Miro Heiskanen too much or have to play the other 4 too much.
Lud said this in our Game 6 pregame show. We were talking about some of the circumstances. He says it's all about their confidence and trust in what Miro can handle. So, Luds, as Pete said this morning, we need to be prepared if we go back to 6 for Miro to be able to handle 35 or 40 minutes. If he goes, it's not as easy as you get 20 minutes in a regulation, easy NHL game. You have to think the worst case scenarios. Can he deal with 35 or 40 minutes? If you lose a guy, you're rolling 5 and you go in deep into overtime.
I don't know if you can go. I don't know how you go into games worrying about that. I mean, you could say that all year long.
Yeah.
That's why I don't understand. But my opinion, the way Miro looks from game to game to game, he looks ready to me. And he played 24 minutes. And what did he go from 14 minutes or whatever?
It was
now
18 and a half to 20.
Yeah. So
24,
what was his total for Game 6?
23.
It was just under 24.
Yep.
Because Harley was at 25. But the question for me is he good enough to play against number 97? Because that's, again, that you got to test the waters on, because 97 can break anybody's knees when they're 100% healthy. So and again, it's not like he has to be heads up and in his face all the time. You've got to be able to contain him. So I would think that, and I haven't really seen any other defenseman that can do what I saw Miro do against McDavid. I mean, he basically, when you see McDavid come down the wall on 5-on-5 and he's a 1-on-1 on a defenseman, and you get him to turn up the wall back towards his own end looking for players coming late, you're doing something that he doesn't like. And so to me, that's just because he can hold his gap. So I do think, and again, I know we're going to get into this, but the one thing Dallas hasn't been good at is 5-on-5 play. They've got to get better 5-on-5. And I don't know if the answer is to run Rantanen every other shift or whatever, but they've got to get more 5-on-5 play. And that's out of everybody. There's a, and Sean, again, with that stats and thing, there's this thing about shots. And basically, are you on the ice and do you have more shots versus your opponent? And there's not one forward in Dallas Stars that's in the positive. Not one. As a matter of fact, the top three, who you think, 64. Granlund is 90 to 73, the wrong way.
So minus 17.
Yeah.
Yep.
24. Hintz is 80 to 67, and Rantanen is 97 to 64. Now, they're outscoring the guys they're playing with, which is all that really matters at the end of the day. But it also leads to territorial time.
Yeah.
And that was the other thing that I mentioned, I think, before we went on. Sean, you can explain the flurry, and basically it means chaos around your net. Well,
yeah.
Edmonton is the best in the league in the playoffs at this, which means that there's a lot of things that are going on in front of your own goaltender, and that's why I ask about Jake. So, and that's why Miro.
They get to goalies a lot.
Yes.
As well.
I mean, that's what this is, and that's what this whole thing is. Bottom line is, Robo doesn't have a .5-on-5. Duchesne doesn't have a .5-on-5. There's a lot of guys, and they're all mine. As a matter of fact, there's 3 guys that are plus. Who are they? Who do you think?
Forwards or D or everybody?
The whole team. Of the whole team, there's 3 guys.
The other day
Petrovic.
you asked us, and it was the third pairing.
Yeah, so I was going to say.
Oh, did I already bring this up?
No, you just mentioned but who's the third guy? Because you mentioned the
Miro.
And it's Miro.
Of course.
But Petrovic and Bichel were the surprise.
They're the only 3 guys that have
wild.
a positive shot differential. So it just tells you that, again, that they got through 2 rounds not being that good in the 5-on-5 department. That's good. So that they won those 2 series. So now they're going to have to find a way. But there is a lot of other things. And again, you can love or hate analytics, and I'm more on the hate side, but everything is slanted to the other team. Everything.
Sean, as you hear what Luds talks about, even strength, and Miro trying to play against McDavid, have you seen enough from Heiskanen over the first 3 games of his recovery and return to action to feel that he's there? Or at least as close as he can be until next season when he has a full off season to get his full rehab done?
I don't think he'll ever be 100% Miro this spring, what he was with the proper time and recovery, but he took another step even further than I expected. And you want to talk about fun facts with analytics and everything like that. In Game 6, the Stars had a 46-13 edge in shot attempts when Miro was on the ice.
Yeah.
Miro also had 13 shot attempts by himself. So he was 13. If you didn't take, so even Miro was a net, even if no one else on the ice ever took a shot for Dallas. So that's how good Miro was in Game 6. And obviously Winnipeg doesn't have a Connor McDavid. They don't even have a Leon Draisaitl. So that's going to change things. But to me, he took another step. He took a step in each game. He took another big step in Game 6 there. I thought if that's the best version of Miro that we saw in Game 6, that's still a top 10 defenseman in the world right there. If he can take another step this spring, then that's remarkable. And then you're talking about a guy that is looking at like prime Miro. So that's why I said the 12-6 to go back. My 2 cents is go back to 12-6 because I think it's kind of ridiculous to worry and plan about 35 to 40 minutes of Miro in overtime because that would require you to be going to planning for a double overtime game and everything like that. And if you're going that deep, everyone is taxed. And so you're ready to tax 11. You're ready to tax your forwards a little bit further because of that. I just that to me is Miro's ready. He's as ready as he will be. Run with it, and let's stop dealing with a bit of the awkwardness on the third pair, where whether it's Petrovic or Lyubushkin, whoever is in, it's sometimes they go stretches without playing sometimes, and all of a sudden that first shift feels a little bit off and wrong, where they're trying not to make a mistake and things like that. So that to me is Miro's there and he's ready. Give him a go with it. McDavid is gonna score his points in this series. The key is he scores points against no matter who he plays against. So the key is to limit him as much as possible. And I think you're as well prepped as you can with what Miro did the last 3 games.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing because I think dealing with McDavid is a lot like McKinnon in the sense that you hope to contain the others around him because he's going to get his. The difference is he also has Leon Draisaitl, which, of course, the Avalanche have Makar, but they don't have Rantanen anymore because Dallas has him. Burned Oils brought up something in talking about the defense and the usage that I think is interesting. Last year, we burned out from playing 5D. Luds, if you recall, we talked about this at length at the end of the year going into this season was, Nils Lundqvist was playing, 3-4 minutes the first couple games. Then they call it Petrovic and use it. Again, not a ton, but a little bit. Whether it's 7D or 6D, how much different is it usage for the Stars this year and not overworking the top guys quite as much because there's a little bit more balance on the blue line?
Well, I think it's a bonus, but I keep going back to why can't you throw Brendan Smith up front? Like, can Brendan Smith play against their bottom line? Yes.
To give you that safeguard.
In case something happens. I mean, I don't, again, the poor guy hasn't played in a ton of time, so I get it.
Yeah, it's been a month now.
Yeah, I understand all that. But, I mean, when he didn't play a month the last time he came in and he wasn't brutal. I mean, he came in, he played pretty good. So I just think that might be a way that, again, there's a reason they don't want to do that.
It'd be a fun storyline, wouldn't it? If he did come in and
as long
was
as things
effective.
turned out well.
Yeah, that's right.
But again, if you don't have Miro Heiskanen at some point going down the stretch here, you're not going to have a lot of success with the teams that you're going to play going down here. You need Miro to get healthy. I think you can manage Miro's minutes, too, throughout the game. You don't have to have him at 16, 17 minutes at the end of 2 periods. Like, you have to take his temperature. You got to check on where he's at. And it's easy enough to see. I mean, you're going to see when a guy flinches and things like that. The other thing is, this team has got some toughness to their game. And when you talk about Draisaitl, and
you're talking about Edmonton having toughness.
I'm talking about Edmonton.
Yeah.
Yeah. So to have another guy like Brendan in there, I think there's a bonus to that. And of the last 17 goals that Edmonton has scored, 9 of them have been on the ice, and those other 2 guys weren't out there. Like Draisaitl and McDavid out. So they're getting depth from Perry and, guys like this down the Podzinski and a lot of these other guys are, and then they've got their 4th line. They got Frederick now. So there's a bite down there.
Oh, you're speaking John's language now.
Well, you've got some bite to the game. So they got an old Bruin in there that they hated over there. Now
are you down on Trent Frederick now, John?
I think the Bruins made out very well in that trade. Let's put it that way.
Okay. Well, Luds, Frederick, Janmark, and Perry is the 4th line for Edmonton.
Well, Perry will be up and down. I mean, he's been playing too well to keep him down there. But the bottom line is between shift disturbers like Perry, Frederick, Podzinski, they have some of those guys on that team. So it wouldn't be bad to have a guy that can step up and answer one of those guys too.
I'm curious, Luz, and I know fans have been asking a little bit about it. For watching Miro in the last few games, if you watch just kind of the general game, he looked incredible in last game. He was flying up the ice, making people miss in the neutral zone. From your player perspective, watching him movement-wise, what are the little things? Did you see any hesitation, slow pivoting, anything like that? Or did he look pretty close to Miro in terms of all of his areas?
Very close to Miro.
Okay.
And again, I'm comparing it to his first game.
Right.
His first game, pucks were being bobbled, and he was making turns and losing the puck, and he couldn't pivot. And again, that I'm guessing a majority of that is stepping into playoff hockey and not being 100% sure. What made me confident, in all honesty, was in not the last game, the second to last game of this series, was when at the end of the game when he went back to his own net and that left leg went into the post. And I thought, that's going to tell a story.
You're talking about on the Oilers
right at the end of the
game.
game.
Yep.
Yeah, right at the end of the game, he spun around in front of the net, and it was his
I
left
saw
leg.
That too.
And it hit it from the back, and his leg spun around and it hit the post. And I thought, oh boy, well that's probably good because tomorrow you're going to find out if he was sore. Then he comes back in the last game and he looks fine.
He looked great.
So I think that's not a direct hit, but I think from him up in his mind going, okay, I just had this knee worked on. It's been a few months, and I'm back now, and I'm feeling better. And nothing happened when that happened. I didn't even feel it. And I'm sure a little bit of that had to do with the brace. I'm assuming he's wearing a brace. It had a lot to do with that. So now you give confidence in the brace and everything else. But like I say, if you're going to play against number 97, he does things. And you may, being Miro, you may have to say, Miro, I know you want to be within 12 inches of him. You may have to be 16 to 18 or 20 and see how the first game goes, how the first period or second period. How confident are you? Because you have to contain him. And I would assume, but you also have to give him a partner to play with, and whether that would be Essa, I don't know. We'll see how they decide to go about their business there, because it doesn't sound like those two guys are going to be playing together, because I think that what they've done is they put Draisaitl down on a checking line now, and he ends up doing the job and then scoring a goal. So whether they put them together or split them up, we'll find out.
Yeah, they've got Draisaitl listed as centering Podkolzin and Kapanen.
Well, he's playing with two fourth-line guys, and then he's still scoring goals. But what Draisaitl's able to do is now they've got him out against he's almost become a Selke kind of guy. You know what I mean? Like, they've got him trying to shut down the other team, and it worked.
Up next, we're going to talk more about the upcoming conference finals, because we have to do a revisit of our second round picks and then make picks for round 3. We'll have some fun with that next here on the DLLS Stars Podcast.
Here we go.
Here we go.
Mando. It's a men's deodorant brand that's focused on keeping every aspect of a man's body smelling fresh and clean. Every aspect. Mando overtly calls out parts of men's bodies such as pits, belly buttons, balls, butt cracks, grundles, your nacho. Their scent are great and geared towards men, with options like bourbon leather, Cloverwoods, Mount Fuji. If your balls smell like clover or leather, that's a win-win. Created by a doctor who saw firsthand normal BO was being misdiagnosed and mistreated, clinically proven to block odor all day long. Sam is all proof of that. Mando's starter pack is perfect for new customers. He smells awesome from here.
Thank you.
It comes with a solid stick deodorant, cream tube deodorant, 2 free products of your choice, mini body wash, deodorant wipes. Sam's got a pair of them. Ralphie's got a whole shipment coming to his house. As a special offer for listeners, new customers get $5 off starter pack with our exclusive code. Use code DLLS, shopmando.com.
Well done.
That was pretty good.
By the way, Sam did a pit check while you were doing the read.
Yeah, I had to
just to
double
make
check.
sure.
A quick pit check. All right, let's talk about Sleeper. Sleeper's not only the best fantasy platform, they are also an amazing place to go and make simple picks on whether your favorite or least favorite player will have more or less in their projected stats each week or night. Tonight, since there is no hockey and not even any NBA basketball, which I was trying to pick. Because
what are you going to do?
The Mavs just had Mr. Jason Kidd sitting right here earlier to check that show out. So instead, I went to the WNBA with Dallas Wings point guard Paige Beckers, more than 10.5 points against Seattle tonight. Paige was at the game. I think it was game 4. In Dallas?
Yeah, it was in Dallas.
I believe so.
Let's say 4.
Yeah,
sure.
she was a big fan of the Stars. So if you think you have what it takes, new users download the Sleeper app and use the code DLLS Stars to get $55 in free entries when you place a $5 contest. Apply to any contest, doesn't have to be your first. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. Currently operational in over 25 states. Check out Sleeper today.
All right. Thank you very much. Let's talk about, Lud's got really bent out of shape when I had John play our first round revisit, because I played the clip of these guys picking the Avs and I picked the Stars, and we knew Sean had picked the Stars. So, Luds, I didn't do this as a favor to you, but I'd say most of our show sounds pretty smart when looking back at how we picked the second round Stars and Jets. Luds, you get to go first.
Stars in 5.
Whoa! Oh. Sam?
Jets in 7.
Sean?
Stars in 7.
I'm going to go.
What did he say?
He said Stars in 7. I'm going to go with, as if Lud's is saying,
I said Stars in 7. Sorry.
There you go. Well, you were kind of.
Yeah, it was glitchy.
You were
I'm going with Stars in 6. I think they win it at home on home ice. So there you have it.
What was so long with 5?
No.
I have the Grundles to think that they can finish.
No,
it in
you're
5?
misreading this.
We were all
this
correct.
guy
We were all correct.
picked Jets in 7 and got it wrong.
If it wasn't for that penalty and that overtime
they
goal,
win in 7.
they probably win in 7.
Agreed. And I have picked against them, and they've won both.
Yeah.
So when
look at this.
Are you
for
taking
everyone,
Edmonton
when
now?
I pick the Oilers, don't be mad at me.
Tyler, Sam better pick the Oilers. I'm a little stitious.
Thank you. I'm doing it for all of you.
Allie can't believe you
Oilers
picked the
in
Jets
4.
with a massive all caps question mark. Matthew wants you to pick Edmonton for the superstition.
I will.
But Allie said, Sam picked the Jets? Question mark. Look at that. She's absolutely incensed.
I did it for y'alls.
And now you get to go to Edmonton.
Yep.
All right.
Can't wait.
Okay.
It does. Oh, and it does feel a little like patty yourself on the back every time you're right about something, and then you
of
go.
course it does. He's never right about anything else. He's got to get it when he can
But
get
the
it.
thing is, Luds, this is jealousy on Luds' part because Owen is capable of going back to the show and finding it and giving me the timestamp to pull it, whereas Luds just bitches about stuff.
Plus,
but he
maybe
mentions it
maybe
live
that's why
on the
he's
show.
never here on time. He's always searching for things to be right about.
I think if the Stars lose, Owen will be wrong because I don't think he's going to pick the other team.
There are
on this
very very few things that upsets Luds more than trying to admit that I was right about something. I'm not sure why, but it gets under your skin.
I have I don't have anything about people that pick games. Any of us. I don't ever get anything wrong. I mean, right. I get it all wrong. I didn't even get that right.
I didn't even get the statement right.
Boy, yeah. No, this is one of the reasons why I don't gamble, because I'm going to get all of that wrong.
I can pick the totals, though. Not for myself. I can pick them for my kids.
For your kids.
But when
I
it's for
cannot
you,
pick them for myself.
Your former hockey player kids.
Yeah, but I can pick the total. I'm pretty good at the totals. Whatever the first game is, it's going over. But I don't know what it is. I can't do it for myself.
all right, let's take a look at the updated playoff bracket in the NHL, and then we're going to go through our other picks, and then we'll make our picks for the conference final. So, as you can see, we're down to the Final Four. Florida and Carolina will face starting tomorrow. We're going to talk about that in the next segment and how it got there. Florida wins in 7. That's exactly what Sam and I picked. Luds, you said Florida in 5, 6, or 7, so you covered your base as well. Right. Sean had Florida in 6, which, frankly, after Game 5, I thought that was going to happen. I didn't think Toronto had it in them to get that win in South Florida in Game 6. So we were all right. Florida moves on. Everybody picked the Panthers. Then you go to Carolina, Washington, and we were split on that one.
Well, I took Washington.
Luds and Sean said Washington in 7. Sam said Carolina in 6. I said Carolina in 7. So kudos to Sam. You got that one right.
And that series wasn't even close.
No.
It wasn't even close.
I was absolutely wrong with the Vegas and Edmonton series. I picked Vegas in 6. Luds picked Vegas in 6. Sam had Vegas in 7. Sean had Edmonton in 6. Yeah. It was Edmonton in 5.
I think Sean had the Edmonton winning the cup in his original picks, right?
I did, yes. I had Edmonton winning at the beginning of the year.
Well, he stuck to it.
Sticking to it. I love it.
The interesting thing is that I had, from our picks at the beginning of the season, I had Dallas and Tampa in the final, Dallas and Carolina, which could happen. And then when we got to the beginning of the playoffs,
Florida game 1.
I picked Tampa to beat them in the first round. So obviously I completely lost it on Florida because I got hooked into the Lightning playing well. And then obviously we did the Stars ones already. So I would say overall, decent picks except for Vegas, Edmonton. That one really snowed us. So we're going to talk about Carolina and Florida in the next segment. We're going to talk about the what happened with the Leafs.
Let's go Senators.
But let's start with the Eastern Conference final picks. And let's give Sean a chance with his totally reliable microphone to make the first selection. Go ahead, Sean.
I'm going to go Florida in 6 in this one.
Okay. Luds. Florida versus Carolina in the conference final. Who are you going with?
I have no idea. I want to say Carolina, but I think I should say Florida. So I'm going to say...
Would you like to pass? Would you like to come back
Luds would like to pick both.
Honestly, I don't know.
Would you like to pick both in
Florida,
5 or 7
Florida
games?
to me is the better, more complete team. The way Roddy runs that team, I don't know if they're going to be able to compete. And you know what, Sean? Freddie Andersen is not going to be able to keep this up. So I'm going Florida.
How many games?
I don't care. What's the difference? I think picking games is stupid. In 7.
Okay.
No, it's in 6.
In 6.
It's stupid.
Or 7.
It's stupid, but he's going to
6
change.
or 7. All right. So
it might be Carolina, though.
So just to finish that up for you, it's either Carolina or Florida in 5, 6, or 7 games.
Boy, Luds, as long as there is a
sweep incoming.
He sweeps, he's wrong.
I'll mark this clip, Luds.
All right, so I've got Luds down as Florida in 6 or 7. It might be Carolina, though. Okay, perfect. Sam.
I have Logan Stankoven scoring 4 goals in the series and Florida winning in 5 games.
Florida. I just started writing.
And Stank's going to score 4 goals in 5 games.
Yep.
Okay.
Matthew Tkachuk
And now
is
you
going
think
to
what I
crush
said was
Logan
stupid.
Stankoven.
I
The
actually
Panthers take craps bigger than Logan Stankoven.
I actually believe that Luds is on the right track because I am feeling, after what I just watched, that picking against Florida is a fool's errand. But I wrote Carolina in 7. I picked the Hurricanes to win the East at the beginning of the season, and so I'm going to stick with that. I've got Carolina in 7.
They won't score.
Maybe not. We'll find out. But let's talk about, or let's do our other picks. The Western Conference Final. Sam, you get to go first this time. Stars, Edmonton, the entire viewing audience and listening later are holding their breath to see if your superstition holds.
Oilers in 6.
Are you guys happy now? All right, Luds.
I also believe that.
Did you just drop an F-bomb on the air?
No, I did not.
You did an SH earlier too.
I like that he whispers, though,
I
into
think
the
into
the microphone, not like
I should
Right
be
now I am.
penalized, and I
Actually.
shouldn't do any of the shows or the watch-alongs. I think that should be my penance.
You can come to Edmonton.
I will take the Stars in 6 because of Jake Ottinger.
Okay. Sean, to not make
Unless Jake lets in more than 2 goals a game, I'm going with Edmonton.
That's just covering all his bases.
he's just trying not to. All right, I'm going to pick because I don't want everyone to think I'm always waiting for last. I'm going Stars in 7, and I think home ice is going to make the
Soccer
difference.
Owen's taking the home team again.
Well, I picked him at the beginning of the season, so I'm
Soccer.
trying to be consistent
We
here.
picked the away team. Oh, you mean the home team like the Stars?
Sean,
What? What did you just say?
He picked the road team last round.
Who did?
don't listen to those two. Go ahead, Sean.
Oh, okay, yeah. So before I'm gonna give, I can't really make a real pick on this because before the season started, I picked Edmonton to win it all, and I'm a believer in you stick with your pick all the way through. I'm also some of this listener show may have listened to another show I did around this time last year where I said I could see no way in the world where Edmonton could win a single game more than 2 games against Dallas, and then I was
remember it.
completely wrong. So, and I also just booked a flight to be down there for Game 5. So,
Huzzah!
knowing all of that, Oilers in 4.
Wow,
Hey, let's just bring up that Luds picked the New York Rangers to win the Stanley Cup in the beginning
I had
of the
the
year.
Devils.
I had the Rangers to make the final.
We crushed it with the New
Well, let me
Jersey.
guess. You
Or
picked
no.
the Stars to win the Cup.
Well, yeah.
We all did.
We all did, and then
I
we
did
laughed
not.
at
Oh no, you picked.
I
you
picked
switched
them,
it
but
did.
you
because
guys
we
all
all
did.
picked
So
it.
Yeah.
I took the bullet and said,
because
I will
when
be
we
the guy
laughed
that
and we
takes-
said we're all a bunch of
Yes.
homers, Luds goes, fine, I'll change it to the Rangers.
That was
How'd that
after the
work- how'd that work
graphics
out
were
for
made.
you?
They
After the
traded 4
graphics were
guys
made.
away. The coach
Yes,
got
thank
fired.
you, John.
Didn't go so well.
But once again, the consistency of Luds
At least the
riding the
Devils won a
fence.
playoff game.
So
By
he
the
can
way,
go
Mike
both ways.
Sullivan, you're welcome.
So are you picking the Rangers for next year?
Yeah.
Next year,
Okay.
next year, one of the
No,
32
that's
teams.
what got their head coach fired because I picked him, and now Sully's coaching
Now he's
a
got
good
the job.
team.
That's
Can
right.
you pick Don Sweeney to win
Lud
GM
says
of the year next
Lud
year?
is a hot take. Next year, one of 32 teams is going to win the Stanley Cup, or maybe it's a new team.
You
He's
never
not
know.
sure.
If
Maybe
it's
at
an
least
expansion
33rd team.
year, I don't know.
I actually, there's a Twitter account called, was it Not or Non Atlanta Thrashers? And they were trolling somebody about they're going to lose another series or whatever. And that I believe that the tweet was something to the effect of Atlanta's about to get their 3rd NHL team before the Leafs win a cup or something like this.
I saw that.
That was pretty funny. I enjoyed that. So, all right. We are
Saw some
going to.
Thrashers jerseys at the games in Dallas
Yeah?
for Winnipeg. I like that.
Oh, yeah. That would make sense,
Yeah.
right? Because Winnipeg is what the
Kovalchuk.
Thrashers were. So, and of course, Kari was drafted
Yes.
by the Thrashers. Kari
Hey,
Lettinen.
how come we haven't talked about the shirts we're wearing?
Oh yeah,
We
we're
should-
about
Is that
to.
coming up?
We're about
It's
to.
literally
I didn't want
in,
you guys to miss it.
in
1
about a
minute.
minute, which I don't really want to start a new topic on Stars Oilers because we have to get into some other stuff
Who's your
after the
favorite
break.
Atlanta Thrasher of all time?
Oh, Danny
Rich
Heatley.
Peverly.
Danny Heatley's
I
a good
almost
one.
said Heatley, but I'm going to go with Rich
Just because
Peverly.
of
Really?
the Twitter account.
Yeah?
One of the original like 2011 Twitter accounts was the 50 and 07 guy.
I'm going to go with Pevs.
I liked it.
I actually, and not just because we know him. So,
I liked Kovalchuk.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he was-
Dustin Bufflin.
Bufflin.
Nice.
Yeah, I like that.
Here we go.
I like-
Dustin Bufflin before he threw one of his teammates' tracksuits clothes in the shower.
I think my only one of my only memories of the Thrashers was when the Rangers swept them in the first round. I don't remember what year, and all my friends brought brooms to school the next day because they were Rangers fans. It's the only thing I remember about the Thrashers.
All right, now let's talk about shirts next here on the DLS Stars podcast.
I thought we were done.
We were.
We got another segment, lads.
Oh.
Check this out. Playoff shirts available right now on the alldls.com website. Check this out. Everybody, except for Sean, is wearing the captain shirt today, thanks to our very generous boss, GM Ben. Luds, I'm sure, has something snarky to say.
Wait till you get your paycheck.
His-
There may be $38 missing.
You got to say it in the mic so they can hear him.
Oh, that's right. I'm talking to his mic.
Okay. So that was
Why is your mic over there?
so you can see the
swears
shirt.
on the show. You thought we were done 45
Luds, we
minutes
got
into
another
the show?
15 minutes plus. John, you also have the shirt.
I do have the shirt, but don't give GM Ben too much credit because he did kill a drop today.
Oh.
He told me that this one needs to be retired.
Your balls, butt cracks, and grundles.
But he played it anyway.
Wow, our head
Well,
of production
That's the last time.
said
and it
no.
has been retired.
Why can't we make a
GM
shirt with that on it?
Andrew should.
Oh, she doesn't
Well,
want to hear
that was
that
the
again.
last
I thought
time.
you were in
Good news
favor
for
of
you.
it.
You're never going to hear it again.
Well, let's
Except when
talk
Bud's
about
supposed
being
to
a
read.
DLS diehard
Not
because
me. He's the
you
one-
can get these shirts by simply signing up to be a DLS diehard and picking this shirt to be your free shirt with your annual subscription. Also, the Mikko Moose shirt, the Wyatt Johnston 16-bit t-shirt, and the Mikko Finisher, all available for the playoffs. Plus, the Finnish Mafia, which debuted late in the regular season, is available again for pre-sale, which we had to do a second run because it sold out so well, and it's a phenomenal shirt. So any of those are available. And Sean, that's only a part of what makes it being a diehard so great.
Yeah, and I mean, the one thing, GM Ben can pick out shirts, but he can't pick out headsets because he bought this. This was the so for everyone in the chat right there, if you want to know how it was bought and purchased, that's the so I didn't have a shirt
Who's
shipped
that?
to me. Instead, I got this headset.
What?
So the other thing you should go do and read,
One
you
of
should
the,
read
one of the guys from the
this
Rat
right here.
Boys or the Rat
you
Pack.
you can join the Discord. Lots of great conversation there. You get Sam's writing. Only place in the world you can read Sam's writing. So why not? And go check that out. We will have writing after each game of the Western Conference Final. Both Sam's the night of, my stuff the day after. You can check that out only as a diehard. You join the Discord, the community, and once again, it's a really cool thing to see what's been kind of growing with the community outside of just what's happening in that room right there on this show. It's to kind of, you can see some real friendships and community grow. But I know there's a couple people in this chat who have talked about that before. So it's a really cool thing. And by being a diehard, you get to join that community. And I think that's why sports exist, right? Join the community.
Totally agree. Before we get into the last part of our show, which I want to get to, a quick update on the DLLS Diehard Stanley Cup Playoff Bracket Challenge, the group that we signed up for, except for Sean because he forgot. So Sean gets excluded from this. Our intrepid beat writer, Sam Nestler, is in a whopping 33rd place out of 35 entries
Not last.
with 71 points.
Not lame.
I've made it. By the way, Sam has Vegas winning the Stanley Cup in this bracket, so he's
Against
not
Tampa.
going to win. I'm ninth with 122 points, which isn't bad. But let's look at the leaders. We have a tie for first through 2 rounds. Pickle Jar and Socially Distant, each with 141 points. And by the way, everybody in the top, oh, good Lord, the top 15 picked the Dallas Stars to win the Stanley Cup. So
A lot of brackets busted if they lose.
we know where this is going. Ben, who helped set up the bracket, Ben Selheim, is in 3rd place with 139. Ryan Chambers, Nebby, tied for 4th at 138. And Jess 18 is at 133rd and 6th. And also a bunch of others there, including We Miss Stankoven, tied with me and Chase Case in 9th place.
How many points did you say was first?
First is 141.
How many points do I have?
71. You're doing great.
That is just
That's
horrendous.
we set this up as a fun thing to do with the DLS Diehard Discord
you have?
channel.
I didn't know
Another
anything
fun little
about
perk.
this.
It was in the Slack on the Discord.
Or that.
Yeah.
I didn't know anything about it.
Well, we thought it was hard enough to get Luds into one
be
of those things,
leading.
let alone to get him to, anyway.
Luz,
All right.
Luz would be leading it, he says, because he'd pick
Game 7
either
last
team.
night between the Panthers and the Leafs, and I don't know what you guys thought was going to happen, but I don't know if this final being a one-sided melee by the Panthers was what you picked, especially where it happened in Toronto. But Luds, there was a particular comment that Brad Marchand made after the game was over that I thought was meriting of your response. And here's what Brad Marchand said about the pressure that the Leafs players are currently facing.
When you win a cup and you play in some of the games that this team played in last year, like, these are not high-pressure games. You know, when you're playing for an actual cup and you give up a 3-game lead and then you're in game 7, like, that's a high-pressure game, right? So, you know, in game 7, the second round, yeah, it's a high-pressure game, but it's not compared to some other games that guys have played. So when you actually look at that, and then when you see the pressure that Toronto faces and you know, everyone's talking about whatever the 20, 30-year build-up. I don't even know what it is, but you see the fans and the way they're talking. Like, they just beat the pressure into this team, and it's got to be tough on those guys to walk to the rink every day and not feel that, because I mean, you see the way the fans treat them at the end. Like, how do you not feel that every single day? You know, and when you go through big games, like, you realize which are actually big games and which are just, you know, big moments.
Luds, you played in Montreal, a huge pressure environment. You also won in Montreal and got the fruits of that labor. What do you think about those comments from Brad Marchand and the watching the Leafs storm out to a 2-games-to-none series lead and then have it fall apart like this?
It's 100% true with that market. I played in Montreal, and I've never seen a Montreal Canadiens jersey burned. I've never seen all the things that happen that Toronto does. Yep. And it's, you know, there's parts of me sometimes that says, you know what, take the team away from them, except it's a cash cow. So that's not ever going to happen. But they should just find the people that are burning the jerseys and take their tickets away from them. And, you know, you can find them. But again, what Marchand is saying is 100% true. It's probably the worst place to play when things are going like that. And at some point, at some day, it will be the best place. But that's been few and far in between. And you can go back 20 years there, and they had some unbelievable players, and they didn't find a way to get it across the line. So I just there's nothing more you can say about it. I don't know why, or if it's ever going to stop players from going there. You know, I mean, besides being drafted there, if somebody wants to pay someone, because I would think, and all the talk is about Mitch, right? Marner, you know, blah, blah, blah. He's done. I think his car is packed and ready to leave. Enough. The only guy I think that wants to stay there is John Tavares. And I think that's more of hometown.
Well, he's the one that grew up wearing the pajamas of them.
Well, yeah, but I'm on my last leg, and, you know, so, you know, I think he would like to finish there as an older player, but I think, you know, there's certain guys. I don't know how much Matthews even wants to be there. Would Matthews want to go someplace else?
What about Nylander? Same thing?
Yeah. Well, I think, I don't know. He's
performed pretty well there.
He doesn't seem
so is Matthews.
Yeah, so I don't think he gets thrown under the bus.
Yeah.
You know, Marner does, and I don't know for the life of me. Wherever Marner goes, they're going to get a really good player.
Yeah.
That's my opinion.
I just can't believe that they were throwing sweaters on the ice.
Yeah.
When the series wasn't even over.
Yeah.
When they lost the
got
game,
thumped in game 5.
Like, you got beat bad. I understand that, but like, you guys were up in a series against the Florida Panthers twice. You're up 2-0, and then you're up 3-2, or you come back and find a way. I just can't believe the dramaticness of that team. I don't think that's a real word, but
no,
the craziness of what they were doing to, like, if I was a player on the Maple Leaf, imagine you're playing, you've earned this, you've won a good first round, you're playing the Stanley Cup champions, you have that poor performance, and then you're getting ready to go play a do or die game 6, and you're getting your jerseys thrown on the ice.
I just wonder. I don't think Brendan Shanahan will be there anymore. I don't. But, and again, he's not the general manager. Tree Living and between Tree Living and Berube, I think they're going to put their heads together and say, we need to go get a team that is really tough to play against in a different kind of way. And we've got to find guys that have played in kind of markets like this that can handle this kind of thing. But I think they have to change the identity and the culture of whatever that team has been a makeup of. And they always have what they call the core 4. You know, I don't think it should have taken this long, you know, for them to figure that all out. But we'll you know, again, that's a bigger problem for those guys. So.
Sean, Luds mentions the market. Is there any, you've covered the entire league for a long time now, and I know there are some pretty intense media markets out there, especially north of the border, New York, Montreal, Vancouver, etc. Is there any media market that's tougher for players than the Toronto market?
The only one that's even close is Montreal, because there you have to deal with it in 2 languages. But if you don't speak French, then you miss half of it. So you're actually fine. The theory that pops into mind for me about the Toronto thing, and it's the market, and so many guys grow up it is the national team of Canada the way it's covered, right? Like that's the way it's covered. It's the amount of clippings they get, the time they get, all of the airtime, everything like that. And you know what? Maybe, and not that they got the job done when Matt Sundin was there, but Matt Sundin was from Sweden. Matt Sundin, I'm assuming, went back to Stockholm, wherever he lives now. Matt Sundin wasn't going to live in Toronto for the rest of his life. I just always can't help but wonder when I look at Toronto, and kind of the tie to it is there might be something to it of your future foundation might be better not to go with the Ontario kid. It might not be to go with the person whose entire livelihood has been built on saving this franchise that hasn't won a cup since '67. It might be better to be, you know what? Let's go with the European. Let's go with someone like that. Like, it might just be better to do that, because it does become so encompassing. Or because, like, there's players, for example, like, just let's pick Miro Heiskanen for a second. If Miro ever wasn't in Dallas, I don't think media attention would get to Miro no matter where it is, because Miro doesn't read anything. He lives in his own world and just wants to be one of the best players. Like, you just need players like that in Toronto. Players that
And
don't
Dallas is a
care.
great market for Miro, because he's not going to be bombarded everywhere he goes in the city.
You need fins, is what Sean's trying to say.
Yeah, yes, just they should call They should see if Yuri's interested in the GM job there, and just
Well,
roll out that way. It's
Sean, I would say that who's ever here, this is a great market to play in because of the owner and because of the general manager, basically from the top down, and the history of it, the history of the players that have. And again, we are so lucky to be able to come here now when it's all said and done for us. And then you look the market that this is and how steady the fans are. I think the fans here, because there's another team on the other side of town that has to go through that kind of stuff too.
All those
Matter of fact, when you guys
distractions.
Yeah, and I just text Charles Haley. I just sent him a message. I wanted to ask him about losing, and I just said, "Oh, I forgot you never lost." But because I mean, there's another sport here. I don't know how fans are for the Cowboys. I mean, are they like? I don't think they're anywhere near Toronto Maple Leaf fans. I don't know.
I think it's very similar.
Is it really?
I think
they're
it's
burning jerseys.
I think that there
Are they throwing
oh,
jerseys on the field and things like that during?
I don't know
games?
if we've seen the jerseys on the field, but you hear every year people swearing off this team.
But those same people keep coming back.
Yes.
They do.
They have to buy their tickets for 20 years, right? Isn't it?
Well, but there are other things about seat licenses and all that stuff. But before we run out of time, let's go quickly to the Eastern Conference Series. Now, Carolina waiting, just like Edmonton was, to host the Florida Panthers. As we did our picks, you're right, Luds. I picked Carolina, but Florida, pick against Flordia, your own hazard.
I personally, just from a hockey stand, I think this is wrong to have Florida have to play tomorrow night. I do.
Only 2 days later.
I get it. I get the TV and all this other kind of stuff. And
why wouldn't they just wait until Thursday?
Exactly. Well, we know why. It's TV.
TV,
I just wonder, are they
Stars
worried?
were gonna have to do the
Another
same
question
thing.
for Sean: are they worried about fan momentum? Like they need to see game after game after game. Are they worried about losing a little momentum? And I know that if this game would have been done the other night, Dallas was going to start the next night.
If they played Game 7 tonight, they would have played Wednesday.
For the sake of having a good series and not, having a detriment to one team, and again, not because they won the Stanley Cup, and you shouldn't get any special rights because of that. But they played all the way to the end last year. Then they start and all that kind of stuff, and then you don't even get that kind of time in between. So I wish they wouldn't do that, but I don't think you can. Yeah. I don't think there's any other way to go about it. Apparently.
It's
Sean,
it is.
He got his finger up in the air.
No, it is the TV spot. It's they had this TV windows, and we gotta play for the TV windows. And basically, Turner had the TV window for Tuesday night, and Turner picked the Eastern Conference Final this year because Turner got the pick, and so that's why the quick turnaround. So
is that? But let me ask you one quick question about that. Was that because the TNT has the Stanley Cup Final? Do they get first pick or second of the conference final? Do you know?
They get the team with the Cup final that year gets first pick. And
okay, so then next year it'll be ESPN again.
And the minute Edmonton reached the final, We saw how much TNT wasn't willing to send broadcast talent to Edmonton earlier in the playoffs. So the minute that Edmonton reached the conference final, TNT had already committed to taking the East, because Toronto still would have been so much easier even if Toronto had been in. So
I wonder if they would have picked Toronto there either way. All right. We have about 20 seconds left. Any final thoughts before? Oh, we have 5? All right. Well, for Luds, for Sam, for Sean,
yeah, but
and
I
for
got a
John.
response from
No,
Charles
you cannot
Haley.
read that.
I'm
I got a
Owen.
response from Charles Haley.
2
Can I
o'clock
read
show
it?
tomorrow. Thank you to Bud Light and Happy Sour for presenting today's show.
We all silly like the mayor.